Scott, you played Ross on Outlander, and the first question we always ask the actors is how they landed the role, and if they auditioned. What was your experience of getting the job?
It was funny, you were chatting about the Edinburgh Festival there. That's where I was when I got the call about auditioning for it. I was doing a show at the Edinburgh Festival, and I got a call to go to an audition. So you went along. I was listening to Grant's interview last week, and you kind of saying that you leave it all in the room and you forget about it. And sometimes when you're very, very lucky, they give you a wee phone and they allow you to take part in their fantastic show, and that happened to me. So over the moon about it.
Right. And we've had tons and tons of questions for you coming in through Twitterland, which you use Twitter quite a lot, don't you?
Well, I've only recently, I joined it in June, and it went berserk. I joined it with the show. I basically thought, I was speaking to good mates with Stephen Walters, and he said to me he had joined Twitter, and I thought I better join it and see what's going on. So yeah, I'm now, I think it's 3,000 followers I'm at. Which,
fantastic.
I'm catching Sam Hugan. No, I'm getting there.
You're getting there.
250,000 or something.
You'll need to befriend William Shatner now and get in with the trend.
I think I need to start a fight. I think that's the way to do it. Because I'm a Barney on Twitter, you seem to get popular.
That's right. That seems to be the way to go. Now, one of the most difficult things about asking questions from Twitter is people's usernames. I can never pronounce them. For instance, this first question is from Rita, but the username is at ARCFF94. So I think we'll just stick with Rita. That's probably easiest, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a wise choice.
Rita just wants to know basically what it's like being in a big show like Outlander.
Yeah, it's a strange phenomenon because you're really excited to be going in and you obviously you study your role and what you're going into an awful lot before you go in. But I found going in that what I wanted to do was try and see how the pace of everything else. I wanted to kind of be invisible off screen, if that made sense. I kind of just wanted to go in, no upset anybody, no come in and offset and make that I've arrived. Just kind of hide essentially, watch everything, learn as much as possible from the guys that have been in it and are more experienced than you. And then kind of if you can imagine when you were a kid, you used to go on the kind of, we would call it a roundabout. Where you were a kid, you would jump on the roundabout when it was spinning. And the idea is you have to get your timing right or you'll get thrown off it. That was the kind of metaphor that I kind of seen it as, that this thing's moving at such a pace, this big fantastic show. It was already a smash hit before I turned up, so it's I just need to hop on it, do what I need to do, and hopefully they don't kick me off too early.
and for our American listeners, that's a merry-go-round.
Yes, exactly. Yes, a merry-go-round.
Right.
Yes, so it's timing it to get on the merry-go-round, and not annoy anybody that they want to throw you off it.
Kathy wants to know. She's called OK Mom, so I'm assuming she's in Muskogee. So
at least Oklahoma.
At least Oklahoma, yeah. And she wants to know: has your life changed in any way since working on Outlander?
To be honest, I don't think so. I think I've got a kind of maybe a wee teeny percentage of fan base that goes with the show, and they seem to be very loyal and very interested in what I'm doing outside it, which is fantastic because my day job is I run a community theatre in Bathgate. That's what pays the bills, and people have been donating to the charity, and we're having a fundraiser on the 23rd of September, and people are flying over for it, and I'm delighted. We'll give anybody a tour of the building, so everybody's welcome. But that's been a big thing. Kind of it's actually supporting the other stuff that I do, and that means an awful lot. Kind of it's all right. Somebody giving you a wee tweet and saying thanks very much for your performance. That's great. But see when somebody actually you see something come up on the screen, they go, I've donated some money towards your charity. You're going, heartfelt. You're going, wow, that's actually affecting my life and supporting what I want to do. So it's fantastic.
Now I want to come back to that in just a second. What you're doing there, because and we're going to put out the link how people can help. Now Rebecca in North Carolina wants to know if you have any funny stories from filming. Any story, and particularly she's asking if you have any funny stories about Murtagh or Dougal.
I don't have a one sitting with these guys that is broadcastable, because the guys that were on the show that are a bit more seasoned, as I say, I think their pastimes was a much more vulgar sense of humour that came out, and it was it passed the days. It was great, but it's not something I could broadcast. But there was a story I did a wee video of. Somebody else had asked me, and it was a story with young Roman, who plays Fergus, but it's quite a long story, and I don't know if I'd have enough time on air to get it out. All right, I'll give you a wee go. So one day I was in the makeup hut getting my makeup done, and one of the makeup artists said to me, "Scott, are you a fireman?" And I said, "No, I'm not a fireman. Why'd you ask?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know. One of the girls said that you were a fireman." I found out that what had happened was they read the script that my character Ross carries the dead body of Kincaid into a cottage, and they didn't believe, looking at my scrawny body, that I was capable of doing that task. So they said, "How is that guy going to carry that other big lump?" And then somebody says, "I think the guy was a fireman. I think they brought in a fireman because it was such a heavy thing," right? Which was just nothing. There's no truth in that at all. So as of the rest of the time on set, all the makeup team would call me the fireman from then on. That was a running joke. So they would be saying, "How's your hose this morning, fireman?" and blah blah blah, and having joke all the time. It was going on for ages and ages. And one day I was sitting with young Roman, and one of the makeup team walked past, and they said, "Hey, fireman, how you doing?" And I just said, "Yeah." I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" The joke had passed by then, and they were still using it, so there was no reaction to it. And Roman turned round to me, who plays young Fergus, and he said, "Are you a fireman?" And I thought, we've got about 8 hours to kill before we are used. I thought I could have a bit of fun here. So I said, "Yeah, Roman, I'm a fireman." And his eyes lit up. He's a young kid, and he's like, "Oh wow, a fireman!" And he says, "How long have you been a fireman?" I said, "Oh, 8 years." And I kind of just told him a wee kind of fabricated story of it, and they shouted, "Right, we need you on set," and that was it. And I never thought anything of it. And a couple of days later, we were back on set, young Roman and I sitting bored again. And I thought, I'm going to wind him up a wee bit with this. So
he now thinks he thinks you're a fully fledged fireman.
Yes, at this point in the story, he believes absolutely that, because somebody else had told him. The makeup team at this point have told him that I'm a fireman. So
and how old is Roman?
Roman, he must be 13, because he was 13, 14. He was doing his exams at school. So he's a pup, you know.
So you've got him hook, line, and sinker so far?
Yes, I've got him hook, line and sinker so far. So I decided to have a wee bit further fun with this. And I say to him, "Roman, do you want me to tell you one of my stories about when I was out firefighting?" And he says, yeah, it'd be great. I says, "Well, Roman, one day our unit arrived at a high-rise building." I says, "In the second top floor, the whole floor was on fire, and there was a mother there with a baby. Now, what we realised was we didn't have a ladder high enough to get up and get her down. And obviously we couldn't get past the level to get onto the roof to get her out that way." I said, "So we were really stuck on options." I said, "You know Peter Cech? He's the Arsenal goalkeeper now, right? I don't know if you know the Arsenal goalkeeper. He wears a funny hat, and this is soccer I'm chatting about for the American listeners. So he's the goalkeeper, so he catches the ball all the time." And I says, "Do you know him?" And he says, yeah, I know who you're chatting about." I said, "He was walking past, and he said to us, 'Can I help?' And we were saying, 'No, sir, if you just stand back.' And he said, 'Listen,' he said, 'I'm Peter Cech. I'm the Arsenal soccer goalkeeper. You know, if she threw the baby down, I could catch it.' You know, we thought, what a silly idea that was. That's never going to happen." I said, "But the flames were getting higher. The mum's getting more erratic. She's screaming, 'Someone save me, help my baby.'" So we decide that Peter Cech's idea of him catching the baby's not such a bad idea. So we shout up to the woman, Mom, if you throw down your baby, Peter Cech here is the Arsenal goalkeeper. He'll catch the baby." And she said, No, I'm not throwing my baby. And Peter Cech says to us, Can I speak to her? So yes, we say, "On you go." So he says, "Ma'am, my name's Peter Cech. I'm the #1 goalkeeper for Arsenal, the soccer football team. If you throw down your baby, I will catch it." So the flames are getting higher, the mum's getting more desperate. Eventually she throws the baby. Now Peter Cech, this 6-foot goalkeeper, he runs across the street. Everything starts to move in slow motion. The baby's falling out of the sky. This giant man jumps up, leaps up, catches the baby with both hands, bounces it twice and kicks it. For anybody that's American that maybe doesn't know, the soccer goalkeepers, that's what they do with the ball when they catch it. They bounce it twice and kick it. So young Roman's face dropped at this point, and he realised he'd been had, and he was not impressed at all. Now, by this time, I am rolling about on the floor. I am eating the carpet, thinking I am the most funniest guy that anybody's ever met. And I've got tears down my eyes, and he is not happy. And
what did he say?
he says to me, he says, "You're not funny," right? And I just laugh. And he says, "Scottish people are not funny," right? He's French. That's my French impression. And I says, "Roman, I'm the funniest Scottish guy you've ever met." I say, "Scottish guy." He says, "I prefer the English." So that's how I had young Roman on the set with my storytelling antics. So
Fantastic.
I will go to hell for that story. I'm fully aware of it for what
That's
I
a
done to
great
the young lad. So yeah, I hope it wasn't on too long, fees, and I hope the listeners managed to follow it. But yeah, that's my funny story from set.
Thanks to Rebecca for asking us that question. Now we have some more questions. Let me see, which one will we go for next? There's so many. Some people just saying thanks for being so nice to your Twitter friends, your Twitter followers.
I think I chat away to folk, and I don't think that's the done thing. I don't think a lot of people do that. I chat to everybody, but I'm just a chatterbox, as you've guessed.
But a lot of people in show business just use it for promotion, don't they? Or sometimes it's not even them; it's their people's doing it for them.
One thing I would say, to be honest, is I've only got the 3,000 followers, and since I've been on it, it's like a full time, occupation. I'm trying to get back to everybody is so difficult. So I do have a lot of sympathy for the guys that have got millions of followers and stuff, because there's too many to get back to. I mean, I really struggle just now, but I don't want to be ignorant to anybody. I don't want to not get back to anybody, but it must be difficult. Guys like Sam and Kat that have got 250, I mean, they must be getting literally thousands of notifications.
You can't reply to everybody.
You can't. So,
and probably a lot of people ask you the same question, which is good that you're on here now, because we can get to answer those questions. And we have another one from this one's from Wallingford in PA. Is that Pennsylvania? Nightmare.
Yes, that is Pennsylvania.
Lucy Provost has a question, and she wants to know, when did you know that you wanted to be an actor? Was there a moment that you knew that's what you wanted to do?
I remember as a kid I've always been involved in storytelling, and I did a bit of storytelling at in high school, involved in the various shows. But to be honest, it was I went into the supermarket and retail, and that's where I was working, and I was kind of like one of the youngest managers in a retail shop, and I wasn't getting any job satisfaction. My wife actually said to me, "Why don't you go to college and do something? Forget about chasing the pound and actually do something that you would enjoy." And I don't think for a minute she thought I was going to come back with acting. I think she maybe thought, I don't know, something else that would maybe generate a bit more
a doctor
more
or something,
certainty.
a lawyer.
Doctor, or something that maybe you do a doctor, become a lawyer, something you maybe be interested in. And I come back and said, "Oh, well, there's an acting course going." So 3 years later, did the acting course, graduated, toured the country. I've been very fortunate. I've been to Milan. I played Romeo in Milan for 5 weeks, in the Piccolo Theatre in Italy. I've been to Finland. I've been to Jordan doing a film. So I managed to get about for the acting. So it's been good. But yeah, I've always enjoyed storytelling. As you can tell, the story there with Roman. I've always enjoyed storytelling, and to me, that's what acting is. It's been able to retell stories, and Outlander's a great story to kind of retell, because it's so much history that's involved in it.
Sure. Now, you mentioned about your other projects, about what you're doing to raise money with the theatre, and how Outlanders helped your profile and reaching out to fans. Now, Joanna Kill, I can't pronounce her name properly, Joanna, wants to know how the Outlander fans can support you. Your project. So, do you have a website where people can donate? Or is that already done? We've still help?
The website for the community theatre. It's a wee 200-seater in the heart of Bathgate, which is a wee town in West Lothian in Scotland.
I know it well. That's where they're filming. They're filming Train Spotting there right now, aren't they?
Yes, and a lot of the Outlander locations are just nearby as well, which has been handy. Linlithgow and stuff, because some days you're filming and you're only 10 minutes down the road for the theatre, which is quite handy. But yeah, the website for the theatre is the Bathgate Regal Theatre, so it's www.bathgateregal.org. That's .org. Or you just Google Bathgate Regal and it'll come up, and you'll see some of the fantastic stuff that goes on there. It's right. I get involved with the theatre 4 years ago. when it was close to closing down. I arrived at the theatre and they were saying basically, help, the theatre's about to shut down. And what we had to do was have a public meeting and say to the community, one, do you want a community arts venue? And if you do, you're going to have to support it. And there was an overwhelming response, and a lot of volunteers have got involved, and the theatre's been repainted, and people have donated stuff. There's been fundraising events going on for the past 4 years. In that time, we've got our own community radio station, but like you guys, we've got our own radio station, which is Regal Radio, and that's
nice.
There's 40 live presenters volunteer presenters do their shows and stuff. So yeah, we're trying to raise money to reinstall a balcony. That's one of our bigger projects. We're looking to raise £1 million, but that's through other funding grants and stuff. That's not just on donations. We're not going to make £1 million on the donations, I don't think. So, smaller projects like the cafe bar, we want to put new seats in the cafe bar, and there's new mirrored walls for our students. We run a HNC course, and we want to put mirrors in the walls. So yeah, people can find out information on there if they care to. But the best thing I'd love folk to do is to buy a ticket to a show and come and see something at the theatre. You know, you can support the theatre that way by coming to see a show. Yeah. Involved. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I firmly believe that people need to put their phones down and their computers down and get out more. Too many people don't go out to theatre anymore, and I recently when we put Laurel and Hardy back in cinemas so that the next generation could discover them, that was our message, as let's get.
Well, before we start telling people to turn everything off, can we wait till we're done talking to somebody?
Yeah, don't turn them off yet.
Yeah, you be careful what you wish for.
We
just lost all of our listeners. Thanks, Ross.
Just stop taking your phones to gigs and recording the gigs, and go and see something and take it in and enjoy it, and support live theatre.
Yeah, I've never understood people who would rather try and video something rather than living in the moment and enjoy the memory.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that. I went and visited Culloden at the weekends. My wife treated me for my birthday, and we went to Culloden to see the battlefield. And people were saying, take loads of pictures, and I was kind of saying, I kind of just want to experience it. And it wasn't a holiday destination. It's not somewhere that you felt to pull out a camera and be taking a big smiley photograph in front of a gravestone. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes I'm a bit like you guys, and I want to go and just experience it firsthand, and it'll be my memories that I tell, hopefully stories that I tell. And if the wife's taking pictures, that's great, because I'll have her pictures. Yeah. But
when we were in Normandy last year with the Band of Brothers cast, we went to some of the locations where some of the men were killed, and that they felt the same way. They felt a bit. They didn't want to get like photographs, make it like they didn't want photographs taken at the site like it was some sort of a trophy. It was a sad moment, and it's a sad memory, and they felt it was maybe slightly disrespectful of them if they were to take pictures at that particular spot. But they've got that memory now. They've been there, and so I can understand where you're coming from. Now, do you prefer doing live stage work, as opposed to film and TV work?
Most of my background in my 20s has been stage work, and that's where I've been my bread and butter, and that's where I've learned all my skill set, and I'm very proud of it. As I'm getting older, I'm enjoying the stuff that's filmed, for the simple reason that some of the stage work I've done has been fantastic. I think I've been involved in some amazing productions, but I can't show the kids that. I'll just need to tell them, they'll need to believe me. Whereas, like, say, Outlander, and I've done another British war film called Kilo 2 Bravo in the US, and that's right. Something that I can show my kids. I can say to my kids, look, or when I'm long gone, they'll be saying, look, there's your grandpa. This is a film he did, and this is a TV series he did. So I'm enjoying, I think, that factor of it is that you get to see the work back. Whereas on the night of the theatre, it's beautiful, but it is gone in that night. That's part of the beauty of it. But after doing it for about 12 years, I've been doing it. It's something you want to be able to hold on to a wee bit longer, some of the work.
Yeah.
And TV and film obviously allows you to do that.
And what have you got coming up next?
I'm working really hard at the theatre, and keeping that going, and just seeing what's in the pipeline. I had an audition for the new Train Spotting, which I thought I nailed, and it went really well. But the phone's no rang. Danny Boyle's no phoned yet. On the tweet, I'll try to find out if I can find Spielberg or anything on the Twitter.
You never know.
My stuff, but no as of yet. So just working away at the theatre and going to auditions. As back to the actor's life, that's the joys of these. The projects like Outlander are fantastic, but they're never long enough.
I do background work and stuff like that.
So you've been an Outlander more than me. That's what I heard. You've done more than me. I think you're
got an IM.
with Stephen that plays Ian. I think you must be up there with the amount of episodes he's done.
I'm on IMDb now, so I've got
look at you, very posh, very posh.
it's listed all these episodes.
IMDb.
uncredited. People's going to think that's my name's Ross Owen, uncredited. Scott, listen, thanks for. I know we planned to record this chat through the week, but
You stood me up. You stood me up. You gave me a dizzy.
But we're so glad we did it live because the fans get to listen. And you know, the great thing about this is when people who miss this show, they can catch up later on the website, the RossOwenShow.com. They can listen again on there.
My mum will be after that, by the way, Ross. It'll be a good recording. My mum will be on the blower.
I'll tell you what, you sound fantastic. You're coming through loud and clear at this end.
Good. Yeah.
The wonders of technology.
Well, my mum will be very proud then, eh?
Well, Scott, I'll certainly come and see you in Bathgate. I'm in Cumbernauld, as I said, so it's not too far away for me. And we wish you all the best with any future projects. Come back and see us sometime. Always an open door policy, and talk about anything else you've got coming up. And especially if you get that role with Spielberg, definitely.
Yeah, will do. Absolutely. I'll be saying Ross who? Ross who?
Ross Owen, uncredited.
Now that I have your phone number, I'm going to start drunk dialing you. I'm going to just be texting like, "Oh, I just saw that scene that you were talking about."
All right,
I'll look
Scott.
forward to that nightmare coming up on the screen of my phone. Oh, that'd be great.
Listen, thanks again for joining us, Scott.
No worries. Thanks for your
coming
time.
up.